Hey seniors, I'm finally getting around to giving you guys your own video because we need to go over A Time to Kill, chapters 23, 24, and 25. So before I go over this, just really quick, make sure that you've done your IXLs, make sure that you get your vocab done, and then obviously make sure that you get this reading done. Remember that all of those things are due tomorrow, not tomorrow, tomorrow's Thursday, Friday at 3:30, okay? So just make sure that you get me all of that. The vocab, you can just email it to me, and then your IXLs, obviously I'll go in and I'll see that they're done when you're done. Now when I'm going over these notes, I'm going to be telling you some of the things that have happened, but a lot of these notes, I'm going to be asking you questions like, what happened when, blah, 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 blah. Just so if you know the answers to these questions, and you are going to be fine when I do send something out, probably next week, like a fill in the blank or a quiz or whatever it may be that I send out, then you'll be fine, okay, on whatever that item is. So make sure that you know the answers to any of these questions that I might ask. So let's first start with chapter 23, and as I go through this, it's going to be in chronological order, okay? So the very first thing at the first of chapter 23 is Ethel is worried, okay? And she's not worried at first about herself, but she's worried about all the bills piling up at the office. And she questions Jake because they owe a lot of money currently. And you need to know that exact amount of how much they owe currently. They only have $900 in the bank, but they owe a certain amount currently. Jake gets flustered with Ethel, kind of puts her in her place, and then she admits to him, okay, maybe I'm not really worried about the money that the office owes, I'm really worried about me and Bud, her husband, because they've been getting death threats and things like that at home. And Jake assures her she'll be fine, and he tells her that he's going to do something to make sure that they're okay, that's kind of how that little section of that chapter ends. After that, obviously, Jake is taxed with having to pay his overhead for the month because Ethel was worried about it. So he goes to Stan Activage, remember the banker, who actually was going to loan money for Carly's defense. And he asked for a certain amount of money to cover his overhead. You need to know that exact amount. After that, Carly and Gwen, they meet at the jail and they kind of have a picnic, and the kids are off playing and they're talking, and Gwen discusses some things with Carly, and at the end of that chapter, she poses a question to him, and Carly kind of puts her in her place, and it proves at that moment that even though Carly may be in jail, he's got connections to where he can do certain things, and he still can take care of the family and provide for the family. So I want you to know about that. And that's at the end of 23. At the beginning of 24, Reverend Aggie has collected $6,000 for the Haleys. But the question is, has the Haleys received any of the $6,000? And they haven't, okay? And I want to know why they haven't. I want to know what Reverend Aggie has done with this money and where he has put it. Next thing you need to know is, who is Norman Reinfeld? He takes up a few pages in this next chapter. You need to know who he is, what group he represents, and you need to know what $50,000 has to do directly with Norman Reinfeld. Ozzy has to set up a meeting between Reinfeld, Aggie, because they're kind of working together, and then Jake and Carl Lee. So they actually come up to the jail, they meet these other two men, and I want to know, how does this meeting go? Because it ends, I think Jake is a little bit worried about how it may end, but I want to know how the meeting goes as a whole, and then how does it end at the end of 24. Okay, at the beginning of chapter 25, excuse me, I need to know what is now founded in Ford County. Something has just been founded. They're having this big event type of thing, but something has just been founded at the beginning of chapter 25. Deputy Pirtle, he gets brought up in 25. because he receives a phone call and it tips him off about what. You need to know what the phone call has to do with. During this time, Carla and Hannah are instructed to do what by Jake. During this time, he tells Carla, get Hannah and you guys go, and he tells them to do something specific to take up time. Ozzy catches the perpetrator and gets him to defuse the bomb. So if you know what's going on right now in the chapter, you're going to understand this. Otherwise, you need to read so you know what this is discussing. And Ozzy coaxes this man for more information. I want to know how exactly Ozzy coaxes this man for more information. Some of the information that this man gives is he gives a color of a pickup and he gives the type of pickup that is driven by another group of men. You need to know the color and you need to know the type of pickup. And then after this whole incident occurs, Jake meets back up with Carla and he tells her what? He gives her instructions and he's no nonsense about it. Kind of causes a little bit of a rift between them. But what does he tell Carla? Hey, I want you and Hannah to do what? The next day, Noose calls Jake and tells Jake that he wants to meet with him and discuss the trial. What's really important during this is when Noose talks to Jake, he informs Jake what about the venue, the change of venue. He tells Jake, here's the deal with the change of venue, I'm doing this, I need to know what the answer to that is. Now that Carla's gone, what old habit does Jake start back up? And then the very last thing that you need to know is at the end of chapter 25, Jake goes to Lucian's to unwind. He's very stressed, and he ends up staying all day at Lucian's, and that night Ozzy comes and says, hey, you need to get home or you need to get on the phone because you have to call who? And that should be everything between 23, 24, and 25. Like I said, it's in the order of the chapters, so you can listen to this if you want to and read it as you go, and you'll be able to pick up all of this quite easily. If you guys have any questions or concerns, make sure you call me or text me or email me, whatever. Get a hold of me and I'll help you guys. You guys have a great Wednesday. Bye.